Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whenever you're watching the show, thanks for being with us here on Orange First on the DenverChannel.com and the Denver 7 app. I'm Lionel Bienvenu. We're looking ahead to the Broncos and the Patriots on Sunday, the biggest game of the year, because it's the next game. They're all big with 3 left to go. Joining me as always, our Denver 7 Broncos insider, Troy Rank, with the tie on tonight. You didn't get the no tie memo, Troy? Woody got it. Woody Page is here as well. And we're talking about Broncos, Patriots, mile high. To me, the Patriots have become the Broncos' biggest rivals. Woody Page, we were talking earlier. Do you agree or disagree, Woody?
Not at all. I think division teams are your rivals. I heard Tom Brady talking in an interview about how the Ravens have become one of their biggest rivals. I don't think the Patriots consider the Broncos a rival at all. They tend to play every year how the schedule works out because they finish in the same spot, or they're playing that division, or they're playing in the playoffs. But I still think that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders, no matter whether they're up or down or the Broncos are up or down, teams in your division are your rivals.
Well, I think the last 4 years. Hold on, Troy.
I disagree completely. No game's bigger than the Patriots every year.
Well, it's AFC Championship almost every year.
But I'll say as the fans, Woody, they see the Patriots as the biggest rival. That game last year on Monday night, the Snow Globe game, C.J. Anderson walking them off, that was the loudest game of the regular season. The fans see it that way because it typically determines either home field advantage, which it won't this year for the Broncos, or the AFC Championship.
Right. So and I'm talking last 4 years. When Peyton Manning got here, Peyton versus Brady.
Oh, right.
Cover of SI, 2 AFC championships, 2 Super Bowl appearances for the Broncos in those 4 years. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't know whether you guys have heard, but Peyton Manning's no longer in the league.
What?
That explains the offense.
No wonder we got problems here.
I guess nothing says rivalry more than Tom Brady versus Trevor Siemian.
Siemian versus Brady.
6th-round pick, 7th-round pick. It's an underdog story. Look, touch their nose. It's cold. They're mutts.
All right. Well, whatever it is, biggest rival or not, here we go. Broncos have to win this game after what happened in Tennessee. Let's do this first, guys. Let's do the old pump the brakes with Brakes Plus. A look back to the Titans game real quick because they lost, and they only rushed for 18 yards. And there's a lot of things they need to fix on the offense and the O-line going into this Patriots game, Troy.
Well, the line's not fixable.
No.
They're going to try to get a little better. It's not fixable at this point. But here's the issue, Lionel. They went 17 straight failed 3rd down conversions. They were on the field for 24 snaps in the first half. They don't have the ball. When they do, they've led the NFL in 3-and-outs. Right. So it's compromising the defense, Woody. There seemed to be a little bit of shared blame earlier in the week at Dove Valley that, the offense had some issues and the defense had some issues. I'm like, nah, the offense had about 90% of the issues. The defense
until it was too late.
The defense held Mariota of 6 for 20 passing, 88 yards. That's the player of the month in the AFC, by the way. Held the Titans to 3 first downs in the second half and lost. Because the offense, again, in the first quarter, they are the worst team in the NFL. And in the third quarter, they're the worst team in the NFL.
Well, the question was, is it fixable? I had a 51 Plymouth. And I know most of you were not even born in 51.
He's driving around with
Havana.
It was in the mid-'60s that I owned it. And it was not fixable. So what did I do? I got new seat covers. My dad and I painted the car. We got dice and hung it from the windshield. We did everything in the world. We changed it. We couldn't fix it, so we changed it. That's what I'm saying to you guys, that you can't fix the offensive line. You can't fix the fact that the tight end is not part of the offense, and when it is, it fumbles. The tight end does. And Virgil Green, if he hadn't been named Walter Payton Man of the Year representative for the Broncos, we hadn't heard his name for the last 6 weeks. So you can't change the rushing. You've got a guy that was off the street last week. You got another guy that's tired. He is tired.
Devontae Booker is tired.
So offensively, I don't know if you fix it. That's up to the coaches. And I heard a former Broncos player say today that you got to put it on the players and not on the coaching staff. If that coaching staff can't realize that week after week after week, when you're not scoring any points in the first quarter, you're doing something wrong in the coaching meetings.
So you're talking about changing it. Are you talking about coming out and having Devontae Booker behind Forsett? Forsett starts. You come out. You play the first quarter like the fourth quarter. You turn Trevor Siemian loose. You don't try to establish a run game, which hasn't worked in the first quarter at all pretty much this entire season. So you just come out flinging it around. abandon what you're doing for the past few weeks and change it, like Woody's 51 Plymouth? Is it Plymouth?
I would.
Okay.
I would. I'd say just sling it. Come out 3 wide, put Emmanuel Sanders in the slot, target them. That was the other thing. Sanders and DT were only targeted 7 times in the first half. They ended up targeted, 21 times?
Yeah.
But that should have been the game plan from jump. And they keep saying it's, well, we didn't have enough plays to get to it. But you're not, that's on you, because you can't convert a 3rd and 1. So I say come out slinging it, start Forsett, maybe use some dump passes with him. But as Mark Schlereth said this on 104.3 The Fan this morning, or earlier this week, the line hasn't earned the right to run the ball anymore. They just need to pass, see where it takes you.
Don't abandon the run, but
I say abandon it. Just come to it maybe on a 3rd and 2 once in a while.
Well, did you abandon your 51 Plymouth, Woody, at some point? Or what, is it still around?
I wish I still had it. It'd be worth a lot more now than it was then. But in regard to slinging it, I don't like that term. That slinging it is going to get you into trouble, I think.
How is it different
Well,
than now?
but here's what I want to see. I want to see them go into a hurry-up offense. I want to see them out of the shotgun all the time. Because the running game, 18 yards.
Well,
when was the last time you ever even heard 18 yards?
Right.
Well, he's talking about slinging it around. I'm talking about let me be more specific then. I want to see them in the shotgun all the time. I want to see Trevor look at films of Peyton Manning and have 2 plays available to them. And if they're playing a 2 deep safety, then you can run the football then. If they're playing 1 deep safety, you throw it. And you throw it down the field. We want to see them go down the field to Demaryius Thomas, who had a great game yesterday in the last game. I want to see them throw to Emmanuel Sanders. I want to see them put Emmanuel Sanders in the slot, put Taylor in the lineup, tell Benny Fowler, you're on the inactive list. Get over there, move Norwood over, and you sit next to him. I don't want to see much of Cody Latimer except when the punter's throwing to him.
Punt, yeah.
And I don't want to see this offensive line zone block. I just want to see a power block. Passing, power blocking.
Here's the stat for you. Since C.J. Anderson was hurt, the Broncos are averaging 2.95 yards per carry. When he was playing, they were 4.11. I just don't see it. Now, if you want to use Forsett as a change of pace, Darren Sproles type, fine. But the idea of stubbornly trying to establish the run in the first quarter is not working. It's not working.
All right, well, let's do the Xfinity X1 injury report right now as we look ahead to the Patriots. Gary Kubiak said Trevor Siemian came out of the game fine, although he took some hits in Tennessee. Booker is tired, beaten up a little bit, and Brandon Marshall also the big question mark.
I talked to Brandon Marshall late last week, and I don't think he's going to play. Now, he's got time here. We'll see, but I would be surprised if he plays with that hamstring. It's lingered, and every time he plays, it gets worse. And so that cycle. And then Todd Davis hurt his left oblique. I'd say he's very questionable to play. So that would put Zaire Anderson in he had a nice game. He actually got one of their defensive players. He played 27 snaps and had like 6 tackles. So he gives them an option. But Davis and Marshall, very iffy for this week.
Keep this short. A couple of days ago, I talked to the guy who installs my smoke alarms and where I live. And he said to me, why in the world, when they're so bad against the rush, why don't they put an extra defensive lineman in there? He said they're getting a push of 4 or 5 yards like the Titans did. And I thought, well, that's a pretty creative, smart thing. Wade Phillips, a smart guy, is that if you've got 2 linebackers inside that weigh barely 230 pounds, they're not going to get any brunt force against the running game. Why not put an extra lineman in there or put the lineman back a couple of yards and put him in an inside linebacker situation? You're reacting anyway. So I wouldn't mind seeing Wolf adjust to maybe a Mecklenburg role where you put him in different places. I'm talking about being creative.
Gotta try something.
The answer is they don't really have another lineman. Billy Wynn is their only other extra lineman. Adam Gotsis hasn't developed yet. They don't really have answers. But it's an interesting. I'd rather put T.J. Ward and Darian Stewart up in the box.
Yeah.
But the problem is when they're tackling, that's a 4 or 5 yard gain. Right.
Well, Woody, you mentioned how bad they are against the run. The Broncos are ranked 29th in run defense in the NFL out of 32 teams, and they're first against the pass. But if a team pounds it like the Titans did for 180 yards, you can be great against the pass, but you're down 13-0 at some point. All right, we got LeGarrette Blount coming in. The Patriots can run the football, and we got the number 2 rated quarterback in the NFL, a guy named Brady, coming in here. There's pressure, as there is every week, on the Broncos offense. not to start the way they have, but they cannot fall behind 10-0 to the Patriots at Mile High on Sunday, can they?
No. And the Patriots lead the NFL, Lionel, in scoring in the first quarter. 94 points entering the week. And so no matter what they were going to do on Monday night, they were going to lead the league. So this is a team that's prolific. And Denver is, again, they have the best fourth quarter differential, Lionel, plus 88. But they have to because they've been so bad in the first and third.
Right.
And the problem was that, because I was going back and forth on Twitter with people, they're like, oh, we're great in the fourth. Yeah, against bad teams, right. You can't live being behind the likes of the Patriots, Titans on the road. But I will say this, I know this is going to sound crazy. The Broncos match up better with the Patriots than they did the Titans. I think you can slow down LeGarrette Blount. They weren't going to slow down that running game.
Let me add this. With Gronk out of the lineup and Amendola has been hurt,
right.
He's not probably going to be much of a factor in the game. So you're down to the guys that are, that they're third and fourth options for Tom Brady. So that gives you some kind of hope, I suppose, at home. And again, if they would just be more creative. And the most creative thing we saw was a punter throwing to a backup wide receiver. That was their best play of the entire night, really, when you think about it.
Well, it got them at least some life offensively.
Yeah, some life, some creativity, some energy, something on offense.
But that's what they have nothing to lose. That's my that to Woody's point. What if it fails and it's a gadget play? The criticism's going to be, well, what was the alternative? 2 yards and punt?
Right, third and one, and then
I would ask you in regard to what's to lose by it. Well, the playoff spot, and I wrote about that earlier in the week that. Would people be satisfied if they just squeeze into the playoffs and lose the first game? But what do you think the playoff probabilities? I've studied this week. Lionel, in your mind, if they win 1, 2, or 3 games, what is it going to take for them to get into the playoffs?
I think if they win 2 out of 3, they're probably going to make it. I mean, percentage-wise, you did all the research. Your column shows exactly what's going on. But you can lose one of the last 3 games. I don't think you can lose 2 out of 3 and hope to get in. There's just too many teams. There's too many teams right there, right now.
I think they could.
Well, they could.
I think they could finish 9-7 and still get in the playoffs because the Miami Dolphins got to play these Patriots. The Baltimore Ravens have 2 games left on the road after playing at New England. I think that you look around, who else really is involved? It's Baltimore or Pittsburgh. Well, Pittsburgh's going to end up winning that division. Right. So it comes down to the Colts really eliminated themselves with a home loss to the Texans. So it's whoever doesn't win that division in the AFC South, and that would be Texans or the Titans. And you might have to go to the Titans again. You might have to go to the Texans. But more probability is that if you win the 2 games you're talking about, you're going to have to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right. All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up with 2 things. One, we'll do keys to the game quickly.
And
what do they have to do? Oh, predictions. Your rant's coming up, but let's talk about keys to the game real quick, Troy. Just what do they have to do here?
Fast start.
Right.
I mean, even if not even just fast start.
Just recue last week's show and the one before that and the one before that.
Just if you score in the first quarter.
Yeah.
So it's even if it's a long drive, Woody, 3 points to keep your defense off the field. So fast start and make the Patriots one-dimensional. As crazy as this sounds, if all they do is pass, just like they did in the AFC Championship, Denver matches up well against teams that just pass.
Right.
Even if it's the great Tom Brady, and he's amazing. Right. If they are one-dimensional. So make Patriots one-dimensional and start in a way that gives your defense a chance so they're not on the field for so many plays.
Well, I would somewhat disagree with you. They have a blunt instrument, and I think that Belichick, as smart as he is, he's going to come into this game and say, we're going to run the ball. Everybody else is running against the Broncos. So when you say one-dimensional, I put a lot of pressure on Tom Brady. They have been effective. They have gotten to him. Von Miller's had great games against Tom Brady. So that's put pressure on Tom Brady with your most effective aspect of your team,
Best
and
player
that's
on
your pass rush. Number 2, we talked about Forsett. He fumbled on the first one, but he had a couple of good runs. One that was brought back. I don't think he's empty. I think there's still something left in the tank. I get him involved out of the backfield. You mentioned earlier about Sproles, who is my favorite player in the NFL. He's been dumped by 2 teams and kept going. He's still, I think, Philadelphia's most effective. So I use him in that Sproles kind of role. I would even maybe consider using him to return punts. I would do that. And the number 3 thing is Kubiak and Knapp and Dennison, the three-headed monster that I call out there that puts the game plan together. I hope that they put together a game plan that has some creativity. And I mean, we haven't seen Emmanuel on an end around in weeks and weeks and weeks. I want to see more of the tight end involved. I want to see Emmanuel Sanders. I want to see some creativity where Kubiak doesn't come in on Monday and go, well, I need bigger plays out of Trevor Siemian. Well, let him make some big plays early.
Right. All right, you got to stop Blunt. I agree with Troy. Force Tom Brady to throw the ball, which you said, as crazy as that sounds, make him one-dimensional. You have the #1 pass defense in the league. They don't have Gronk, who's been pretty effective against the Broncos in the past. So stop the run immediately. Force Tom Brady to the air. You got a chance. All right, the rant. It's time for Woody's rant this week. Woody, what do we have?
I must have watched Red Zone and the games, the major games, the Broncos games. And, guys, I've been covering this since 1970. That's 30, 45 years that I've been covering the NFL. And you would think after 45 years, I would know what a complete pass is. I have no idea. I have no idea.
I don't think anybody does now.
I don't even know on the Derby play whether that was a complete pass or not. Because I watched a game last night, and Des Bryant took 4 steps. And they were debating whether it was a completed pass or not.
Take it to the ground.
I just hope between now and next year, here's what I want to see. They're hiring 17 full-time officials. Now, we've committed a lot to saying over the years we have full-time officials. I want them to take those 17 officials and look at every pass play over the last 15 years, really, and say, this is a catch. I think it's opticals. It's in the eye of the beholder. We talk about the replays, but it used to be okay. We would go, that's not a pass catch, and the referees and the officials would agree with us. But now you go, I have no idea whether that's a caught pass. There was a player that went out of bounds, and the stick was there, and he hit the stick, and the stick caused the pass to go right. Really? Really? Can a yardage marker cause an incomplete pass? I don't think so. Get it right, NFL.
Fantastic, Woody. All right, guys, let's do our predictions real quick. I picked the Titans to win last week. So did Woody. You thought the Broncos might come through. This week, Patriots, I'm going to go first. Until the Broncos prove to me that they can score more than 10 points in Tennessee, with the Patriots coming in, I'm going 24-20. Patriots win at Mile High Sunday. Yeah,
I have the Patriots winning as well because I need, like you said, I need to see the offense prove me wrong, and I think it's going to be more like 2017. And that still would leave Denver a chance if they win out the final 2 games. But as Woody knows, winning at Kansas City is never a good idea in December.
I think the weather, in looking at the weather this week, is going to be poor this week. And that's been the case in a lot of New England Denver games, both here and
it's going to be ice cold, according to Mike Nelson.
And I think that's going to keep the game close, I think. And I think the Broncos realize if they don't win this game, they're in a very difficult situation going down the stretch. I'm calling it SOS, as you know, save our season, Broncos. And that means that's their rallying cry. They should get T-shirts that say that. I am kind of like you. Patriots going to win the game, but it's going to be something on the order, and you said 20-17. I think it's going to be like 21-14.
21-14. It's going to be -2 that morning, Sunday morning, and warm up into the 20s for the game on Sunday.
No.
All right, there you have it, guys. We're picking the Patriots to win this one. I hope we're all wrong. And we've all been wrong before, haven't we?
Yes, I do that often. So.
All right, that's it for Orange First this week. Mile High. Patriots, Broncos on Sunday. We'll see how it turns out, and we'll see you again next week right here. Until then, have a good one.